Tricks. Hi everyone, today is July 9th, 2023. Michelle Fixit here. Yes, we are in the bathroom.
Live from the bathroom.
This is the cousin. There is a video about him. And then you guys don't get to see it. It's in the event that we need it.
Yeah.
So it's a secret video. So we're in the bathroom because Baby Hulk is asleep in there, and you guys were just part of the whole song thing and everything. So I asked him a random question because it's come to my attention that election stuff is going to be going on at some point in the near future.
And we got elections down here next month. We got a primary election
Oh, see,
for county and statewide offices in Mississippi.
and I don't know anything about that stuff. So
I do. If you see it, if you're in Harrison County, you're on the coast. Remember, Lewis Elias for sheriff.
Parks Repair. Homegrown in Biloxi. Which is where we're sort of reporting from. I mean, it's D'Iberville, but it sort of counts for people that aren't from here. Anyways, so how would one try to be president?
Why would anybody want to be president is my question. Why would any sane person want to be president? Do you know the stress? Okay. Look at some of the young guys that went in there. Okay, Barack
Why is it
Obama.
only guys?
Well, hang on. Just I'm talking about history. Unfortunately, there's never been a female president yet. But let's think about this.
I like the yes.
Look at the. I mean, Kamala Harris is kind of running things. Don't get me started. Anyway, so
I'm sorry.
look at some of the
Laugh.
young guys. I'm not talking about Sleepy Joe Biden, because we all know that he's out of his mind, and Trump was too. Sorry, libertarian, full disclosure. Do not like Republicans or Democrats. Anyway, if you're gonna run for that office, and let's say you're in your 40s,
Or can you be in your 30s?
Well,
have
you
to
could be
35.
35.
I looked it up.
You could be
I looked it up.
35.
It's 35 is the beginning stages.
Constitutionally, you could be 35, but okay. I'm talking about historically, though. Look at some of the ones that were in their 40s that were president. JFK, even though he didn't last, 2 years before he got what was coming to him.
That's not nice.
He left Cuba hanging. I got a lot of friends that are Cuban, so he can go to hell. He got what was coming to him.
Still not nice.
You look at Bill Clinton, who was in his 40s. He was 46 when he got elected. He had, nice brown hair or whatever color it was. The time he got out, it was all white. Barack Obama, he went in there in his 40s. And I'm not an Obama fan either, not a Clinton fan. But he went in there and, his hair was just completely white when he come out.
He doesn't like any of the president people. My goodness.
No, I don't.
Really? You didn't like any of them? You can't think of any good president people?
Well, I mean, if John McAfee would have got elected, I would have said he would have been the best, but,
I don't even know who that is. But, so all the president people, you don't like any of them?
Does Jefferson Davis count?
So none of the presidents that we've had, you haven't liked any of them?
No.
And you're a politics person?
Yes.
Then why do you like politics if you haven't had a politics person that you like?
I'm not real sure about that.
That's a very confusing thing. If you choose politics as your special interest, and then you don't like the people that do the politics, what does one do? It's a very weird little situation.
What I do is I let the general public know when they screw up. That's my thing in politics.
Yeah, but do you ever talk to people about how to fix it?
Nobody wants to hear what my opinions are.
Well, what would you fix if you were to fix it?
Oh, Jesus.
What does he have to do with anything?
Well, let's see. What
He
would I
didn't
fix?
start any of that.
You know what? That might be a problem.
This
now.
was a
That
boy
might be the
problem. This has been a boy problem from the beginning.
Okay, so let's go ahead and if I was in there, day one, what would I do? By executive order, I would say 90% of the alphabet soup of federal agencies would cease to exist by lunch.
Okay. And why would you do that? See, I told you I would like you order bathrobes in my videos. I know. Temperature reclamation. Because now that I've had too much caffeine, now I'm like freezing. Anyways.
Go outside. It's like 90 degrees, even though it's the middle of the night.
I know. I have a whole thing. It'll eventually come out on the channel with different stuff, medical randomness that I figured out along the way. But anyways, wearing my comfy bathrobe for those of you that want to know, because now I'm freezing because I had too much Barks root beer. But it's good. All right, continue on.
No sponsorship included, by the way.
I know. Well, really,
But
I mean,
Coke,
it's our
if
home.
you want to pay us, we'll accept it. Just keep your pamphlets about be less white. Just keep the pamphlets somewhere else.
He's trying to defoul my channel. Okay. Anyways.
Apparently you didn't hear about that.
No, I don't hear about anything.
Okay,
I
we'll
know
get to
about
that later.
houses
We'll get to that later.
and vehicles
All I'm
and
going to say
children.
is
all the other stuff.
look up Buddy Brown, Be Less White. Look it up on YouTube. It is the funniest thing ever.
Be less white?
Yes, that was a pamphlet Coke put out.
In
Yes.
In relation to what?
Just look it up. Just
No.
Google it.
I want a
you-
synopsis. I don't want a deep dive. I try to not deep dive. That's why I ask people for the
You
gist
ain't
of
got
the
to dive too deep.
information.
Just look it up.
No, that's not how my brain works. My brain wants to know all of the information.
Well, let's get back on topic here for a minute.
No,
We have really digressed here.
Oh, but yes, the digression needs to be addressed, though. Okay?
Okay. So, on the presidential thing,
Can you just tell me really quick, what it is in a nutshell?
they put out a pamphlet to their employees about how basically white people are bad.
What?
And how white people are insensitive and
Factually.
yes.
Okay. My other phone is in there for Baby Hulk right now, so he doesn't think. Besides, just that. I mean, I've heard a lot of absurdities. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but still. And I feel like I'm just a little head over here, so there we go. Now we're both sort of. I'm sitting on the toilet, but not in a weird way.
It was their diversity training. And by the way, if you'll notice, that's a New York Post.
Coca-Cola slammed for diversity training that urged workers to be less white.
I'm serious. Y'all thought I was joking.
But the material was yanked offline following a viral whistleblower post. The Confronting Racism course in question was offered by LinkedIn Education and allegedly utilized by the soft drink titan.
Yeah. So, Coke, you can sponsor us, even though y'all unfortunately own Barks Root Beer and the Barks family still here in Biloxi no longer owns it. You can sponsor us, but leave your pamphlets out of it.
I'm so oblivious to all this stuff.
Anyway, so back on the topic of the president. Yes, most of the alphabet soup, and I know your husband's a government contractor.
Yes, he is a government contractor. He
Okay.
wants it to be left at that.
And
he does
I
not
know
want to
that.
participate.
That's all I was going to say. That's all I was going to say.
He wasn't briefed, but he's good. He's very good.
That's all I was going to say was government contractor.
It's fantastic.
So, unfortunately, that would probably mean that his job would go bye-bye too.
That's not fair.
I'm just telling you.
Well, what if he was the vice president?
I'm talking about a government contractor. The contractor positions, most of them would go bye-bye because a lot
under
of them,
your role.
yeah, because a lot of people abuse them.
Abuse what? The government contractor people?
No, they abuse the contracts and they pay well more than what they should. An ice cream scoop that costs $5,000.
I talked to you guys about this, but in relationship to toilet seats, because I'm a DIYer and I'm super cheap or frugal for the more fanciful people. And yes, I do agree with that. Where if I was a president person, and I would be I want to see all the different things, and I would want it to be below budget. It's common sense. It's basic math.
Let me go ahead and tell you something else. True story. I used to be a truck driver. I used to run hot shot. I have heard loads going from, say, Fort Carson, Colorado to, let's say, I don't know, Fort Benning, Georgia, somewhere thereabouts. I'm just using this as an example, although I have heard loads exactly like this and seen the rate cons for them.
What?
Rate confirmations, which tells you how much you're going to make, you know, where you're going, where
Like a rate?
rate.
Rate.
R-A-T-E.
Oh, rate. Okay.
Okay. So what they'll do is, when they start getting close to the end of the fiscal year, if they have any leftover funds, they'll start burning it so that they can justify next year's budget. I need an increase of 5% for next year's budget, but I'm going to turn in a surplus this year. Let's burn that money. So, hey, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and take some military vehicles. We'll put it on a load board. We'll have a truck driver come in there. We'll have the privates round it up on the, put it up on the tractors, chain it down, give the driver his rate con, go. And he'll go from, say, Fort Carson, Colorado to Fort Benning, Georgia. They'll get there. There'll be another group of privates at the motor pool that'll pull the chains off, rechain it, and tell the driver, okay, go right back to Fort Carson with it. Just to burn money. And that right there, I have heard paying upwards of $8,000. You know how long it takes me to drive from Fort Carson, Colorado to Columbus, Georgia?
Oh my goddess.
One trip, or one-way trip, I could do 2.5 days by myself, following the law. So in a week, oh, by the way, that's $8,000 one way. You're going two ways. So now we're talking $16,000 in a week. I'm probably going to burn nowhere. I'm probably going to burn maybe, I don't know, what, $1,000 or so in fuel. That's a good payday for me as a truck driver.
But to play devil's advocate on that, if they don't use some of those funds, then their budget's going to be lower and they might need it the next year. So I think a smarter idea would be like, if they had additional funds available, then that would go in as a reserve so that the following year, and then like if you had it consecutively for like 3 or 4 years or something like that.
I'm just giving you an example of how they do this stuff. That's where your $5,000 toilet seat comes in.
Well, I mean, and so for me, when it comes to that kind of stuff, when I'm using specifics as in like, you know, material or things like that, or like labor, like not the cheapest, you don't want to get the cheapest plumber because they might not be doing things to code, they might do shoddy work, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But you do want to get like mid-grade to the best quality product that's available for the time, so that way it ages out at a shorter rate, it depreciates at a shorter rate, and so it's not like you're replacing that same toilet seat over and over and over again. So I totally hear you on that, but when it comes to like certain things like military, stuff like that, it's like if they're nervous that if they don't spend, you know, by gross ridiculousness, if they don't spend that money, then their budget's going to get cut down. And so I think it should be like a rollover thing, and like I said, a reserve, because then it's like, okay, now you know you have extra money, so if you go over budget, then you have this money available to you in the future.
The government doesn't think that way.
Well, maybe the government should think that way, because
I agree
you're condemning people if they don't exert, like it should be a, hey, good job, you're below budget, now that's going to be in your reserve, so like next year or the following year we can actually like use and utilize that money for something more fanciful, like, you know, if that's a military thing, then it's like, okay, well we didn't use this money, we reserved it, and so now we're going to do something really great for like the military people, or like we're going to have them vote for what they would like to do with those additional funds that they saved.
Well, the military is not a democracy. You should know that.
Well, I do, but I'm saying like if we were to go about changing things, then that would be something to work on with that. You know? Why don't you switch? You've been standing for a long time. Here, you get to sit on the throne.
Womp, womp, womp.
Right? I'm all about the corny humor. It works out really well.
Now here, take your drink, because I don't want to mix them up.
All right. Well, I'm going to skin mine. All right, so continue on, and I'll keep like
All right.
playing devil's advocate on like things because I really
Other
don't know
things,
about any
what
of
would
this
I do?
stuff.
The other things, Let's see, NATO would go bye-bye. UN would go bye-bye as far as our involvement with both of them.
Okay, I don't really know anything about any of those.
And I would go back to us
don't
being
know.
an isolationist country so that we wouldn't get into other people's wars. Ukraine! That we have no business in,
So why do we have any business in other people's stuff?
because we don't.
Okay, but I need a reason and a rationale why.
Tell me why we do.
No, I'm asking you so we can poke at it.
Because that's not what a military is for. A military should be a defensive, not an offensive unit. Okay? It's like this. Who's the bad guy? The guy that hits you, or the guy that hits you first, or the guy you hit first?
If you're explaining it that way, though, like I have a philosophy where it's better to be proactive than reactive. And so if you see that there's a problem somewhere and you can be proactive and correct it before it becomes a huge problem because things like to like snowball out of control.
I want to say this first and foremost. I love our veterans and I thank y'all for your service. First and foremost, right out the gate, no disrespect to the boots on the ground. I do want to put that out there.
And that's
However,
good. That's very important.
because I am
really
so
like those boots on the
pro-military,
ground.
I am so pro-military that I don't want our troops killed in some bullshit foreign war.
So I do agree with you on that. I do, because I personally know lots and lots and lots of military guys and gals and, you know, everything else. And so I do.
You know the man that raised me was Vietnam veteran, right?
I did not know, but that's good to know.
Man, I call not your mom's brother, my birth dad. I'm talking about the man that raised me. He was a Vietnam veteran. So that being said, he was against war. He came back over here and he
A lot
was,
of them were
you know,
after all the stuff. I feel like
Why
they
did we get into that? Why did we get into Korea? Oh yeah, to fight communism. What business is it of ours what somebody's doing 7, 8, 9, 10,000 miles off our shore?
But again, proactive versus reactive. So, like, I don't know anything about all that stuff. So it's like I would want to know
I'm a historian
why
too.
those things happened. Well, then you could fill in the whys because I don't know the whys.
The why is because we were trying to. I'm really trying to watch my mouth on your YouTube
Oh
channel.
yeah, no, definitely. Because see, my thing is, I always like to say itty bitty ears. Itty bitty ears and eyes are always watching. So I try really hard to like not do anything that's.
How can I?
Because if we can't explain it to kindergartners, then it doesn't make sense. You're getting out of frame, so I just like fixed it a little bit.
We got into Korea because Truman how can I put this nicely? Because Truman and Eisenhower had to whip out their measuring sticks,
Oh, the sword fighting. That's what I call it.
okay?
They were having
With
sword
Russia.
fighting competitions. It's such a
Okay.
common problem.
We got
with the
into
boys.
Vietnam because JFK and later LBJ, not so much JFK, but definitely LBJ, had to whip out the measuring stick against Khrushchev,
Against who?
Premier Khrushchev. He was the dictator, president, prime, whatever, HMFIC of Russia at the time.
Okay.
Kind of like Putin is now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was Khrushchev back in the 60s.
That guy like rides around in horses and stuff. I saw something about that. I think it was a meme. I don't know. I really don't know anything about this stuff. I know it's infuriating for him, but it's like kind of
But-
one of the reasons why I'd be really good at this because I'm like,
So,
no
well,
sword
hang
play.
on. Well, hang on. Now, here's the interesting thing, okay? Ever since we started measuring
Mhm.
against, going back to Stalin in
I
1945.
do recognize that name, of course.
Mhm.
That's a historical thing, like a
Joe,
real historical
when Churchill and Truman started measuring it against Joseph Stalin's, and none of them knew how to keep it zipped up.
I like
That started the arms race in the 1940s. That was going back to Berlin.
Yeah, and our quality and housing just bottomed out in the 1950s. For those of you guys
No,
that do
hang
care,
on.
and there's very specific reasons why I know that.
Well, hang on. So we turned around and we had to put all this money into defending against Russia's nuclear bomb. Do you know there's only been one country to ever drop a nuclear bomb on anybody? What country was that?
The one that did it?
The country that dropped a nuclear bomb on somebody else. What country was that?
That was us.
That was us.
We were bad. We were really bad. I do know that.
And we didn't drop
I
it.
saw the
We
pictures. I'm
dropped
not
it
laughing
twice.
because I think it's funny. I'm laughing because it makes me so uncomfortable that it like my wiring's weird, and like that was horrific. That was horrible.
I used to live in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and that
Oh.
town scares the hell out of me.
It was horrific. The pictures are really bad for like you young people that find my channel because like you're asking me about like mental health stuff or all these different things that I'm starting to see. It was absolutely horrific. You guys need to go back and learn your history because evidently they're not teaching you a lot of history, and like
Please.
you want to see something really scary that's burned into someone's mind that like doesn't know about the history. I know about history, okay? Broad concepts, not like I consider this stuff that he's talking about more of a pop
Can I
culture
advertise
thing.
my channel?
In a moment.
My history channel? That way they can learn something?
Yes, but you're cutting me off and it's rude. And you keep talking about presidents like they always have to be like boys with dangly bits. And like sometimes we don't need the dangly bits because clearly the dangly bits are fighting with each other.
I can't argue with that.
Okay?
I cannot argue with that.
Like this sounds like a mommy problem. And like the mommy needs to sit the boys down with the dangly bits and it's like put the dangly bits away. You guys need to stop. You need to like talk it out, use your words, and then after you're done, then like you're gonna have to hug. And at least shake hands, okay? And then you go away. And if I have to bring you back in here, then I might have to spank you in a not nice way. Okay? Just saying. I know, I'm funny, right?
No, actually, you know what? That makes a whole lot of sense. Unfortunately, we think, as in Americans,
okay, well, I'm an American, so most of the Americans think
that we have to be the one to say, okay, Russia, Ukraine, y'all need to get along or else we're going to... We seem to think that. And I'm saying, when I say we, I'm talking about our government. I'm not talking about private citizens.
Okay. Well, see, that's another
Which
point
is
that
why
will
we are the
change.
world's policemen and we shouldn't be.
Again, proactive versus reactive. I had to see all the information that's available and not just like assumptions and all that other stuff. Like if there's actual information that says that if we don't insert
How long
this,
are you going to be here?
Where? In the bathroom?
No, here, on the coast.
Oh, I don't know, at least for like 5 days more.
You got a laptop?
Husband got is I have 2 laptops.
Good. You got an extra? Okay.
I'm crazy like that. I have a
Okay,
business
okay.
laptop
Let me-
and a
let me
personal
help you out here.
laptop.
Let me help you out here, okay?
They're both touch screens. One does tricks, the other one does not.
Okay. Apple or Mac? Or
I am completely anti whatever stuff because of ex-husband number 1.
okay,
And
alright.
Tesla Cat Guy vehicles. Even though I really like Tesla ASCII Cat Guy, I have bias towards you, and then I found out recently that your vehicles are doing not nice things, and then I found out recently that like autism people are being utilized to program computers to like be more something, and I'm kind of opposed to that as a person that identifies as having Asperger's autism. I don't like that at all.
Okay, so hang on. If you go from here, get back out here on
10?
the Iberville Boulevard, or I mean on Sagani Boulevard,
Okay.
go down here. There's a Walmart that's going to be on your right.
I know where the Walmart is.
Go in there and go get you the biggest external hard drive that you can find.
I'm
Let me
also,
know.
again, the ex-husband number 1 messed this up for me.
Okay? When you do that, bring it to me, and I will give you all the documentaries I have, and you can see so much of what I'm talking about. Because that's all I do, is I sit there and watch history documentaries.
Well, I'll listen to them when I'm working on projects. I actually really do
Do that
like
too.
that, so I may... Why don't you put that stuff on your channel?
I do.
No, I mean, like, just put the stuff, like, cite the sources and stuff and put it on your channel, and then, like,
If we're talking about history stuff, then I'll talk about
I
your
do.
channel.
By the way,
Not
history.
you just talking, the ones that you're talking about.
I,
Or you have them for you and
I can't. Well, I can't because of copyright.
even no, because people put the people's music on stuff all the time,
And
it's
they
like
get copyright. And I've got enough copyright strikes that if I get one more, I'm done. Yeah, I'm at that point. Because of that.
Are you talking about like with the YouTube stuff?
Yeah.
So I need to know about that because I've had like
I'm the
two
wrong person to
copyright-
ask because I can't stay from getting in trouble. You need to
But-
find somebody that can do it without getting into trouble.
No, because like I mentioned like Walmart or something in one of my videos and it wasn't part of the title because like we were going to Walmart and we literally used the thing and there's like a yellow triangle or something. It's like, hey, this is a warning for a copyright thing, and I'm like, okay, well, like literally it's called Walmart, so I don't know what to do with it, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it.
I'd have to look at it to see, but I'm actually the wrong person to ask because I keep getting into trouble.
Okay, well, I need somebody for that. So, like, in the future, when you guys see this video, I need somebody to help with that. Because, like, social media dumb, trying to, like, do a whole thing here. Because, like, just randomly, so you're kind of caught up with the audience that you're talking to. So, my missing O, which is my firstborn, which has a bunch of stuff going on, is a little grumpy cat. And so, trying to reach out to them. You could have said that to me. I would have talked about that.
No. This is something that I'm doing something else. Go ahead.
No. You just backed out of the article. That's what I was talking about. Anyways, so I came up with this brilliant idea where, for publicity's sake, but also completely seriously, because of like taxes and businesses and all that stuff, I may or may not, hypothetically, be possibly running for president the
Why don't
mayor.
you start local?
Hang on, you didn't even let me finish my. See, you're talking about all the boys with their dangly bits, and you're just like, no presidency for you. Wah.
I'll explain why I asked that in a minute. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so I'm probably going to put like something like Michelle Fixit, like Hard Work is Hot, or something like cheeky, funny, cute. I'm kind of working on that because like hard work is like a very attractive thing for me. I'm all about hardworking people. I came out as pansexual recently because I looked at the criteria for that, and I meet that criteria, plus vehicles.
What the hell is a pansexual?
Okay, hang on again. Hold on, I'll explain it to you for just a minute.
Okay.
Okay, so Michelle fixed it for, like, and my slogan would be like, hardworking is hot, or attractive, or something. And then Michelle fixed it for president, or mayor of Bmore, or just a mommy cat trying to connect with her child through social media. And so it literally crosses off all the stuff. It's great for advertisement. It's great for people if they want to write in a candidate, because I keep hearing about that, which I didn't even know that was a thing until my neighbor cat told me about that. And so like if they bestow the presidency on me like ceremoniously, then I'll do it. If they bestow the mayoral stuff of Baltimore ceremoniously on me, then I will do it. And if not, then I get more people that are interested in me, and I like have more people with the channel stuff. So it's a win-win for me. I don't care. I'll be like the first person to want. I don't even want it, but I'll be the first person that really didn't want the presidency. It was just like it was a joke, but like it just kind of happened. And like there's some pop culture movie that I remember that's like a thing, but I don't think I've watched that movie. But then I found it and I don't remember what it is. But yeah, it would be like a combo of that movie plus like that Idiocracy movie thing, because that's where I feel like we're headed right now.
Okay, let me give you a nickel's worth of advice.
That just okay. Go ahead.
If you're gonna run and you really want to make a change,
Oh, I would
start
definitely.
local. There's
That's
a reason. Y'all hear me out. There's a reason I say start local. Okay. Now you own houses and property and a business. Okay. Mainly in Baltimore, right?
Got us.
Okay. Who has more direct control over your properties, zoning, what you can and can't do, ordinances on what you can and cannot have?
Oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff messed up
Okay.
there.
Who has more control over that? Would it be the President of the United States, or would it be your local city councilman?
Well, that's why I included the mayor of Baltimore thing.
Okay. I'm gonna give y'all something. I've been in politics for a while. I used to have my own radio show in New Orleans called Liberty with a Southern Accent. Was on WGSO AM, little AM station years and years ago. Then I just turned it back into a podcast, and now I've just turned it into YouTube whenever something pisses me off, kind of deal. Anyway, the deal is when you sit there and you have all these people that are telling you what to do, and we all think, well, it's the president's doing it. President don't matter. Local at home is going to give you more control, more power over your life. In other words, let's say I lived here. Let's say I still lived here in Biloxi. Okay.
Do you want to take a pause?
Huh?
You want to take a pause? I can pause.
No, hang on. I want to finish my thought.
He didn't want the pause. Sorry.
Not yet, because I want to smoke in a minute. Anyway, let's say I lived here in Biloxi. Okay.
Which you do.
Well, I live in Long Beach, but let's assume that I did still live in Biloxi, which I eventually will be back in, hopefully very soon. I have a problem. I could reach out to Dixie Newman, who's on the city council, and I know her. Kenny Glavin, I know him. George Lawrence, I know him. Felix Gines, unless he wins the state senate race that he's going to, which I think he'd be good for it, I know him. I also know Mayor Fofo Gillich. You know, if I have a problem of something that they're doing that directly affects my life, they're the ones that are going to be directly affecting my life. They're the ones that are going to pass an ordinance that will directly affect whether I can park my boat in my front yard if I want to. Not that I have a boat anymore, but let's assume I still did. Versus having to find a way to get it in the backyard, and I may not have that big of a backyard, or go pay somebody to store it at a storage facility where it may get broken into. If they want to raise the rates on the water meters, okay? Or raise taxes in the city for whatever reason. These are the people that you have direct contact with. These are people in your neighborhood. City councilmen, I would venture to say that Baltimore probably, I don't know, how many city councilmen y'all got up there?
I don't know.
Biloxi has 7, and the population's about 50,000 in Biloxi. So, I don't know how many y'all got up there, city council members, but I'm pretty sure you can go find one. And your city councilmen, they don't work full-time for the city. They have businesses that you can go talk to them at. I know if I need to go talk to Dixie Newman, I can go to her coffee house. I can also call her on the phone, and I can get her on the phone. Kenny Glavin, same thing. George Lawrence, Felix Gines.
Has there ever been a Mississippi president?
No.
Like anyone from Mississippi?
Jefferson Davis. Does that count?
No, it does not.
I mean,
Any Southern presidents?
oh yeah, quite a few.
Which Southern states?
Georgia, Texas.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I do remember one of them was in Texas, the Bush guy.
So a couple of them been from Texas.
Texas is a big state, but they're not really like.
Steers and anyway, I don't like Texas.
Well, Texas is like its own place. Like it's not really the South, and like Georgia. I mean, I don't know. It is the South, but like it's all
that's the
peachy
South.
and stuff. I mean, I'm peachy, so hypothetically, kind of maybe, if I actually gained any traction, do you think that like Mississippi would be like, hey, that's one of our girls, or would they be like, no, she's a coastie? Did you know that's what they call?
That's
us?
probably more like what's going to happen.
So they would be like, F her, she's a coastie? Like
If
F-bombs
they even
all over
cared.
the place.
If they even cared.
But it's a Mississippi thing. Isn't it
If
like a
they
Jeep
even
thing
cared.
where like if they were from Mississippi,
They probably wouldn't care.
well, who are the people that are going to be like the people
Yeah.
for the thing?
What do you mean? The people for the thing, it tells me nothing what you're trying to ask.
Is it going to be the Trump guy against the Biden guy again? Because I looked at it and there were like 3 blue guys, and then there's like a whole bunch of red guys, but then there's like some girls mixed in there.
Oh, I know that
But none of
idiot
them
Ron
look cute.
DeSantis down in Florida wants to run, and
I saw that.
y'all, I lived in Florida. I still remember the COVID mandated lockdowns that he allowed. So, y'all think he's for freedom if you want to. I can't stand Ron DeSantis.
So then, who do you think should be the next president then?
Nobody.
Then I can do it. Because I like.
Nobody. Let's just
Do you
not
think
have one.
No, we have to have a president.
Let's not.
If we don't have a president, we have to have a queen.
Let's not have
It's
none of.
one
Let's
of
let's
the
let's
two.
let's all govern ourselves.
That's not going to work very well. I see what happens in Baltimore when people have to get left to their own devices to survive. There needs to be a mommy and daddy of politics.
I disagree with
And
that so
that's-
wholeheartedly.
Then you can, because I've been out of the fishbowl and I've been in the fishbowl and I see what's going on and there's a lot of really awesome people there. And it's because literally they don't feel like they can call the police, they don't feel like they can do anything, they don't feel like their voices are heard. And even when they have a fanciful white lady standing in front of like a colorful person because not fanciful, because an ignorant white guy is being a jerk and like breaking the law because he knows that this guy is afraid of calling the police, then I have to literally be the shield of, you know what? You think that if you call the police on him, he's gonna get in trouble. What happens if I call the police on you? There is an order. Anthony, is there not an order? If I accused you
Unfortunately-
of something,
Unfortunately, what you said is a sad reality. It is a sad reality that unfortunately minorities are at a disadvantage when it comes to calling the police and needing the police.
I have helped with illegal lockouts. Like, I have been on the phone. I've been, hey, Miss Michelle, come and see us, please. Blah, 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 blah. This guy says he owns a house. We've never seen him before. And it's like, okay, well, he didn't give you 24 hours notice. He didn't do this. He didn't do
24
this.
hours.
In Baltimore City, you're required to give notification to tenants in a house, whether they're there lawfully or not lawfully. You have to give them 24 hours notice before you enter into the property. And as
Okay, if they're there lawfully, yes, I agree with that.
no,
If you're there
lawfully or unlawfully, you have to post it on the property. Period. It's an independent city, so it has its own rules and regulations. Plus
See,
it's
I got an issue with the unlawfully, and I'm going to go ahead and give you 2 examples.
I think you need a break.
Yes, I do. I need a
He
cigarette.
needs a break, and then we'll come back for our next little thing. Yay!
So I'm just like sitting here awkwardly, and I just came up with a really good idea. What if we just like, what if we did win, and then like when we win, because it wouldn't just be me, it would be like me and you and like everybody. Then we got all the former presidents together, like even the ones that don't like each other at all, and like, hey, I need you to write an essay for a kindergarten class on like in kindergarten language of what you wanted to do during your presidency and what you were able to achieve and what you weren't able to achieve. And if you could go back and change anything, what would you do? And then we get some pointers, and then we'd like talk to the kindergartners and find out like what they thought of the reports and which one was the best. And he's knocking on the door. And we're back.
Now that I had my nicotine. Okay, as far as the law
Smoky
enforcement
sticks.
thing,
I call them smoky sticks. They're smoky sticks.
I wrecked them.
I mean, that's what they're called. They're smoky sticks. You have new school smoky sticks and you have old school smoky sticks. They're all the same. They put out the same stuff. Again, little ears, little eyes. They know what the things are, but we try to make it, good for children.
All right, a little background on me on this law enforcement thing. 'Cause you said something that kind of aggravated me a little bit.
What? What
Not,
did I say?
not because you said it, but because it's the truth.
Okay.
All right,
So I did something good.
background on me. I'm former law enforcement. Board of Corrections in Florida, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Got a lot of friends that are street cops. Unfortunately, when you said that you got these entitlist white people, and that's what I'm going to call them,
Be nice.
that try to take advantage of minorities, yes, it aggravates the hell out of me.
Nabacatus. Language.
It aggravates me.
There you go.
You get these people that are going to sit there and they'll go, well, I'm in my nice suit and
And that's how they come to
I
Baltimore.
own the property and
Yep. Fanciful.
you're just some low rent, trashy black dude that you can't do
Colorful
nothing.
person.
And if I call the police, they're automatically going to be on my side because I'm in my suit.
And then I show up.
Sadly, sadly, they're right.
Yeah, I know. And not everyone has a token, not colorful girl in a dress that can show up in heels and talk the fancy language. And that's what's horrible.
So when you get these people that are taking advantage of these minority races of people who sit there and they have been forced to take it because I'll
And
go
it's
ahead.
generational at that
I will
point.
go ahead and admit it. Jim Crow is still alive in America.
And they have redlining in Baltimore, and they have the black butter. You don't know about these things. They have redlining where they had the. Do you know what redlining is?
No,
Oh,
I've
I
been
get
to
to teach him about history.
I've been to Baltimore, but I've just
Okay.
been through it. I try to avoid that place just about as much as I try to avoid DC.
Let me give you a quick little history lesson. So redlining is whenever financial institutions and or local government decides where the colorful people will live and where the non-colorful people will live. And so the non-colorful people, and they had this going back, I don't know the years or anything like this, but this was a historic thing. This is why the city is laid out the way that it is. And it was basically, we are non-colorful people and we refuse to have colorful people here. But because of laws, we can't do that. So instead, we're going to go to our financial institutions and say that the financial institutions will only allow non-colorful people to get approved for loans in these areas. While the colorful people, when they apply for the same loan for the same house, because they are trying to live the American dream, they do not get approved for that loan. And they say, we won't approve you for 100K here in the non-colorful place, but we will approve you for the same amount in the colorful place. And there was literally red lines for neighborhoods on how this would work out. And then we had white flight happening because, oh geez, if that colorful neighborhood's too close, we're going to flee a little bit. And that line gradually goes away. And so what has systematically happened in the city of Baltimore, because I wanted to know why. Me being in the South, I see like a little bit of blend in this coastal area that I'm from, because like I went to Ocean Springs, we have a little bit of a blend there. At least when I was there, it was not super blended, but it was blended enough, okay?
I don't know. Ocean Springs is a little uppity.
It is a little uppity, but that's because they're blue ribbon schools and everything else. My mommy cat fought really hard to be able to get her busted trailer into the trailer park to be able to get us into that Ritzy school because she knew that education was incredibly important. She was a single mom. She had me when she was 30. She worked her tail off. She had not gained any fanciful
We still
papers.
beat them during football. I went
Yes.
to Biloxi.
Our academics are over the sports. And so when I went to school, we were privileged enough, and yes, I use privilege. We were privileged enough to have a gay club, a glee club. We had all the different fanciful clubs before all this stuff was cool.
We had all that too in Biloxi.
You had a gay club?
Okay, we didn't have that.
Yeah,
That I remember.
exactly. Anyways, if you look at our stuff
I
versus...
wasn't really. Oh, let me back up. I wasn't
He
really.
wants to cut me off.
I
I'm
wasn't
like
really-
sitting here giving a speech, and he's like, no, my important opinions.
Well, I wasn't. I'm just saying. I wasn't really into all the clubs in high school, so I don't know what was available. In all fairness.
And nor was I. I was not a cheerleader in school, contrary to popular belief. That was not me. I was a social butterfly. I had a teacher mom, but like not a cool teacher mom. I had an inclusion teacher mom. So it was like, if prompted, it was, isn't your mom a teacher? And because I had to be protective of her special education children, because they had a classroom for children that needed assistance, and they had behavioral issues, they had mental health issues, they had family problems at home, they had all these different things. And so they would get one period with my mom, and then the inclusion was my mom being the extra add-on teacher to kind of like make it where that classroom just had two teachers, and like you knew that somebody in there needed the special teachers, and you knew that one of the teachers wasn't there all the time, and it became this like weird little thing, but it worked better than not having it available. So I could not sit there and like hang out with her classroom children because I had the privilege, again privilege, of finishing my work and going to my mom's classroom and hanging out with and spending time with the special children. And so I couldn't identify that I knew them, and they kind of acted like they didn't know me, and it was this weird little club that we were in. We're like, you know, I was doing well, and I was able to have that luxury of going into my mom's classroom instead of being a distractor cat to the other students, but then I couldn't even identify who my little friends were because that would like out them. Does that make sense? So it was this weird little gray area where normally teachers' parents, or the parents that are teachers, the children get extra benefits, and for me I had to be kind of closeted with that for the protection of her students, which kind of made me who I am with how I do this stuff in Baltimore, because I see a lot of substance abuse, health issues, behavioral health issues, all these unaddressed problems that the city's trying to do in like their own little weird ways, and it just doesn't work. Anyways, done rambling. So they had the redlining stuff, the white flight, the black butterfly, white L thing is basically like if you look at the city of Baltimore and you do like a racism or a race thing, then it's like all of the outer parts are black, and then like the fanciful part is white, and then all of this is black. And what I'm seeing in my particular area, which benefits me as a property owner, because I had no idea that it was happening, because I just used the first rule of real estate, which was you buy the worst house in the best neighborhood that you can afford. And so when I saw a park in the front yard and no busted houses in the backyard unless you like went over a little bit, I was like, you know what, people are going to think I'm a cuckoo bird, but I own a house. I own a house outright, and now that house is worth more money, and there's like this EPDI thing. And so like Johns Hopkins, I didn't know at the time, was like 5-6 minutes away from my house. And
It's one of the best hospitals in the country too.
Exactly. And so I was just really lucky and really broke to end up with this really busted house. And then like there's a whole story on how like nobody got in there and like strategies on my website. And so I was very fortunate, blessed, lucky, whatever, insert little thing for that situation. But then that also gave me the exposure that I didn't know about. I didn't know that people didn't have heat in the winter. And I've literally walked into houses and taken pictures.
I would die if I lived up there without heat.
People do die.
I would die.
As a literal thing, near Fulton and McHenry, and if you're from Baltimore, you know that area. I have gone into people's houses where they have frozen fruit in their bedroom because it's so cold.
I believe it.
And it looks crystalled. And my brain didn't compute. Like I walked in because it's like this older lady and she's telling me about her sickly husband, and I go in there trying to help because we're from the South, we want to help. And people, you know, look at me funny in there because like that is not a common thing. And yes, people get very protective over me because they think that somebody's just gonna pew me. And I went in there.
Told you to carry a pistol.
Because. And so I go in there and it's like I'm looking at it, I'm like, this fruit, this is really cool because it's like it's got little crystals all over it. And my brain is like, well geez, like this is cool. Like, and then I touch it and it's freezing cold. And then it clicks that it's frozen fruit.
There's
And
ice on it.
There's ice on it. And there's an elderly man covered in so many blankets that all you see is his little head. And, you know, an elderly woman, and basically it was someone said, and that's why when you say like legally versus illegally, another little trick that they have in Baltimore that I see very often is somebody gets keys for a property illegally, acts like they are a property manager to the property, they write up a phony lease, they take the deposit and the first month's rent, and then they go away. And then the homeowner comes back, and these people have a lease, they've given their money, and it happens all the time. All the time. And that's why I say whether it's illegal or legally in a property, it's debatable.
Well,
Because it happens so often.
this is what I've seen. Okay, I used to live in Miami. Alright. you can talk about a racist city. I would say that Miami and Boston are the two most racist cities I've ever been to in my life. But more on that later. Anyway, in Miami, there's a friend of mine. I'm not going to say her name. I'm going to call her Miss P. Okay?
I have a Mr. Slummington that's his slumlord.
All right. Miss P had a house in a highly questionable area of Miami-Dade County. It was not far from what we call the Pork and Beans. It's a housing project.
Oh, okay. I get to
Right.
see the real projects in Baltimore. I think
Go to the Pork and Beans. It's one way in, one way out, and yeah. Anyway, some Haitian might be up there with an AK-47 going, "What are you doing in here? You don't belong in here." Yeah, I mean, it's that kind of place. But anyway, she wasn't in there. She was close to it, though. She was a few blocks away. Well, these probably, and I hate this term too, illegal immigrants, and I do not like that term. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to use that term. Moved into her house that she had, and she had just renovated it. She was getting ready to sell it because she moved to Fort Lauderdale. Okay? It took her, she showed up, she called the police. Well, they said, "We have a lease," and it was signed by her, but it wasn't her signature. Driver's license didn't match up. What they did is they went on the property tax roll website, and they'd sit on the house, they'd watch the house for a few days and make sure nobody was in there. They'd enter the house, and of course they seen that it was completely empty, so obviously nobody lives there. They went into this house and they destroyed everything that she had done. And she's not a rich woman, and she's an immigrant herself. Okay? She actually was born in South America, and she is a Canadian citizen. But she lives in Florida on a work visa. Well, and she's not giving up her Canadian citizenship, so she doesn't want to stay in the U.S. But obviously, I'd rather be in Florida than Canada anyway, especially in the wintertime.
Most people prefer to be in Florida. Even though they make jokes about Florida, the weather's nice. You just got to get used to the heat.
And got to get used to Florida, man. But anyway.
I'll be a Mississippi woman for you guys.
So she goes in there and she sees all these people in her house, and she's like, "What in the world?" So she calls 911. "Hey, I got people in my house. Get somebody out here." Well, they walk up, they put that fake lease agreement in the cop's face, and the cop's like, "You got to take them to court." Well, she couldn't serve them to evict him. And the court, this is also during COVID. This is at the end of 2020 when I heard about the story. And I met her at the beginning of 21. Finally, they just left. And that's how she got her house back. And she immediately put it on the market, sold it for as cheap as she could just to get out of it. She lost probably $150,000 on this. You know, I don't know if you've seen housing, and I know you're in real estate. Look at housing in Miami. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
Okay?
See, Baltimore doesn't.
The house that I grew up in, which was basically when I was living in it, was a very lower middle class inner city house, 4-bedroom, 1.5 bath house that you could have probably bought it just about any time in my life for maybe $110,000 at the most. Would have been almost $1 million in Miami, just to let you know, if it was close to the beach like mine was.
Well, Baltimore does have a caveat for that, so you don't have to actually serve someone. You go down to the courthouse, you pay a fee, and you can post on the property, and then you can mail. and that's how you start a lot of the suits. You have wrongful detainers, you have failure to pay rents, you have a lot of different avenues to do, and then you just pick one. So you don't actually have to serve the person unless you're suing for monetary damages or something like that.
Now, here's another thing I've heard about, and I've heard about this happening in a lot of cities, New Orleans being one. I think they've actually hit a few in Baltimore. You know what the Moors are.
I know what the Moors are supposed to mean historically.
I'm talking about what they are today.
No, but I know the origins of the name, so please enlighten me.
So they're sovereign citizens who think the law doesn't apply to them.
Moors?
That's what they're calling
I wish
themselves.
I had my second phone available because look up Moors. Origins of Moors. Do you know where the word comes from?
I know it was supposed to be some African tribe or something like that, but what they're using it for today, and they're saying that they are members of the Moor tribe so that the laws don't apply to them.
Oh, they're
And-
claiming sovereignty, like the
Yes,
Hawaiians.
they're claiming sovereign
Well,
citizens.
not all the Hawaiians, just some of the Hawaiians whenever they do bad stuff. Because I do know
But
about
they
Hawaiian
will
stuff.
they will come in there and they will take over your house, and then they will just they will sue you if you try to evict them,
Mm,
or they'll put a lien against the house and say it's mine.
mm. All right.
People like that, when it comes to illegally taking my house, my theory on it is real simple. I'm going to ask you nicely. I'm not asking you nicely twice, and I'm not waiting on the courts.
Mm. And then you get in trouble. Anyways, so how would one go about ignoring the monetary stuff of having oodles and caboodles of money? How would they run for president if they didn't have to worry about that?
Name recognition.
So if they had like a YouTube channel or they were like a reality person and they're like, hey, I'm going to run for president while I also run for another thing. And like people are like, what goddess? Or I'm just going to be a mommy cat on Crazy Cat Adventures. And if there was a way to tie in like, I don't know, the South and the North and Cali and East Coast and West Coast and like all the different versions of stuff because like, you know,
You got to have people, you got to give people a reason to know who you are if you don't have money.
because I'm American Gumbo.
You still got to get people, you got to give people a reason to know who you are. You don't have that.
What do I need? You got to give me something that's less broad.
Okay,
I have girl power.
let me ask you a question. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I'm gonna throw some names out
It's
to
just
you.
like being a pooper. He won't even give me an answer.
I want to throw some names out to you, and I want you to tell me where you know them from. Okay?
I don't need to know people's names.
No, just.
If I don't know their names, they're not important enough. That means they have to keep trying.
That's what I'm getting at. So I'm gonna throw some names out and see if you know who they are. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Timothy McVeigh.
McGoddess.
Huh?
McGoddess.
Who is that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Don't know, don't care.
Osama
Sorry.
bin Laden.
I know who he is.
Okay.
Yeah. What is the relevance of this, though? Don't people
Hang on.
stand
Let me
behind?
finish.
Don't people stand behind reality TV shows when they have no talent? And I have
But
lots of talent.
but what I'm getting at is you know those people because they're infamous. Well, you didn't know Timothy McVeigh, but
Oh, I do know him. It clicked in my
Oklahoma
brain.
City bomb.
He's a-
Okay.
He's a bad
All
guy.
right.
That's all I have.
All right.
That's why
Let's-
that's
all right.
in my brain. I'm like, that's
Ted
a bad
Bundy.
guy.
Ted Bundy.
I know who he is. He's a bad guy
Okay.
too. And there was a Netflix thing on him.
Okay.
But again, relevance.
Jimmy Carter.
Again,
You know who that is?
Again.
No, I'm gonna make it relevant.
Okay, well, you've
I'm-
already thrown out some names. So let's
do you know who Jimmy Carter is?
Vaguely. It's a thing. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now,
Okay,
here's
so
my
answer the
point. Here's
please.
my point.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Those people, those first three people I threw out were bad people.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Carter, not a good president, even though he was.
Mm-hmm.
But after his presidency, excellent guy. So you got all these people that you knew, two of them you knew instantly, and one of them that you didn't know.
No.
The easiest way to get fame
There's also a
is
southern accent
Hang
that
on.
bothers me with it. It's hard for my brain
there's
to
a
flow.
way that you get fame, but it's not very good. Unfortunately, people remember the bad, and that's what I'm getting at.
For me,
People, period,
Mm-hmm.
remember the bad. They
I've
don't
already
remember
put
the
all my
good.
bad out there.
They don't remember the good. So, if it's much more sensational to pay attention and remember some bad actor that
I'll just
than
have
it
to
is
learn
some
how to
good
bad act.
actor.
Yeah.
Okay? So, you get out here, and let's just say you decided that you were going to get in here with Habitat for Humanity. Okay? I just hit the lottery and I'm going to go and put everything I got. You would be a blurb on the evening news.
Oh my God. I don't care about the evening news. I care
Okay?
about
Hold
the
on.
people.
But you need name recognition.
Uh-huh.
But yet, if you were to go out here and you were to get on TV and use a racial slur,
I won't.
you would be national news.
But I won't. Because I actually,
I know you won't, but I'm just saying. You see where bad gets you fame and good, nobody cares.
That's fine.
So, if you wanted
Nobody
somebody,
likes the good girls.
if you wanted
We just
to,
sing about them in country songs all the time. And rap music and everywhere.
okay, if you wanted to get your name out there without being a bad actor and doing something bad that people will remember you by, you have to figure out some other way to do it. And that, I don't have an answer for you.
A silly cat game. A woman that's like so fantastical that she like knows how to do all these things, and like you put her in a room with anyone, I can bond and like anyone like me. That's it. Like it's this skill that I have where like you put me in a room with somebody, I don't care. And I will make friends with them.
But you
It's
need to
just
be
a
in the
matter of
room.
time.
You need to be in the room with 300 million somebodies.
Yeah, I know, but I can really get along with a lot of those somebodies if they just have the exposure to me and understand that I'm not like ridiculous.
But when you got everybody
like if I
with
can go
money,
to Baltimore City and be like the little white dot in Baltimore City and like acclimate to that environment and really care about the people and everything else, it's not that fanatical that if people realize that I existed and that I wanted to help them literally and that like this is a total grassroots campaign, like this would be such a fantasy for anyone. So it's like if we're not sitting there
grassroots
pushing-
campaigns are fine.
But they're
Ron
never
Paul. Ron Paul.
I
was
made
a-
the paper because of Ron Paul. You don't even know that.
Hmm?
I made the paper for Ron Paul.
Really?
Yeah. Look up the Ron Paul Freedom Hall.
Okay.
Right now on your phone. Look it up.
I like Ron Paul.
Ron Paul Freedom Hall. I have the newspaper in Manassas. They don't have the picture of me. Ron Paul Freedom Hall.
Okay. So anyway, you get
I will look. I will find it.
you get all these people.
It is the first thing you see. This is WLOX though. I didn't know that they put it on WLOX too. You gotta send me this. Ah! You gotta send me this.
All right, I'll send it to you. Send it to yourself. You got my phone. So anyway, you go ahead and you get.
They better put me in here. I'm gonna be mad if they didn't. This one it doesn't. No, we did. We made the front page in the Mississippi Press. It was a picture of me with the signs that I made.
You the ones that put up all the wooden signs all up and down, back over there by the high school in Ocean Springs.
No,
aren't you?
oh, I don't know. It was on 90.
Oh, okay.
But see, my daddy's in here, so I'm gonna give my daddy credit really quick. So, grassroots. This is WLOX. We made the front page, or I made the front page with me and a poster.
But how
And a
much
big
grassroots support did Ron Paul have?
I don't know. My dad wanted me to do it, so I did it. It was in between like North Carolina and Hawaii. I came down. He was like, "Hey, I got this thing," and it smelled like stinky stale beer and cigarettes or smoky sticks. And I was like, "Daddy, this is not going to work." And so I blasted it red, white, and blue, and I like cheaped it out and made it where I was like, "Daddy, we're gonna make the paper." He's like, "We're not gonna make the paper. Nobody cares." I'm like, "Yeah, we will," and we did.
But what I'm getting at is he had a lot of grassroots support, right? Did he get elected?
No, but it was fun. If you build it, they will come. That's the game plan behind Freedom Hall's grassroots headquarters in Ocean Springs. I don't know
All
anything
right.
about the
Now, hold
finest,
on.
but I will tell you this. It's making hay. What?
Okay.
Freedom Hall founder Stan Fountain said he
Can
got
I-
his buddy to let us use the building, and then he bought stuff, and then I decorated it, and I don't understand why We don't have a Mississippi Press article in here. So continue on while I find the
Alright.
Mississippi
Can
Press
I
article.
can I ask you this? How much money did Ron Paul have?
I don't know.
He's a multi-millionaire. He's a doctor in Texas.
That's
He's also been a
fantastic for
senator.
him.
Okay?
That's
You
not
don't
me.
have that.
Nope, I don't.
So how are
I
you
have,
going
I
to
have a
get...
smiling face and I want to help people.
Okay.
Which is why it's president or mayor Baltimore or just continue to be a mommy cat trying to connect with her child on social media. Like, it's a win-win for me. I have a 33% chance of winning those days. 33.3%.
Why don't you try something local in Baltimore?
So why can't a girl just think that, like, maybe since she's like American Gumbo, I don't even know why this isn't out here. Why can't a girl think that, like, because I'm American Gumbo and I literally like/love everyone, why is it so fanatical to be like, hey, how do you do the president stuff and not get like opposition?
I'm not giving you opposition.
You are giving me opposition. You're
I'm
like,
I'm actually trying to help you target. I'm actually trying to help you step to that.
presidency.
You can't
I
step
want to be
into that.
Madame President.
Unless you got billions and billions of dollars, you can't do it.
Okay, if I have people's hearts
Unless-
and I'm like,
Then do it at the local level first and step up.
why would I do that? That Trump guy didn't do that.
He's also got billions and billions of dollars.
Okay, well, like if
And-
one of the Kardashian people, maybe one of them did it, then like they might get it if there wasn't so much stuff. But like if they liked everyone and they were like
They
out
have
here
money.
trying to be a little happy.
But what I'm trying to say is they have money. You don't.
So money,
Start local.
So money rules the world. I am. I'm
Unfortunately,
literally
yes.
President,
In that,
Baltimore mayor, or just a mommy cat.
then do
Let the
Baltimore.
people decide.
Do Baltimore. You would have.
No, I'm
if
gonna
you-
do all three because I'm crazy.
Okay, listen. If you want to do,
You want to help me
something,
with the first one.
if you want to do something, do it local. Do it Baltimore. Okay.
I am. That's
Now,
just,
hang on, let me
it's
tell
not
you
the
how you
second
do
choice.
this.
It's just in the order.
All right. Let me tell you how you
Biggest to
do this.
smallest, or smallest to biggest.
Let me tell you how you do this. Okay. You already have a lot of grassroots support around you where you're at, right?
The question is presidency, though, not the mayor
No,
question.
no. Start small. Get Baltimore back on track, and then say, "Look, hey, I fixed Baltimore."
I can do that, but if they know that they missed me the first time, or like anybody knows that there's another person, it's like, if when you go to vote, since you're like, I don't want anybody to vote, or I don't want anybody for the president because they all are poopy heads. Okay, so you do that. So what do you do with your vote? You just don't do it.
I write myself in.
You write yourself in.
If I don't see
But if
anybody,
your
if I
cousin-
don't see anybody on the ballot that's worth it, I write myself in.
But if your cousin is running with familial stuff, you would not write your cousin in. You would
Depends on
rather-
if I like you or not.
I think you like me. I think lots of people like me.
You, yes. Now my cousins on the other side, no.
And I might have to utilize his information if my side of the family that he's talking about decides to blast cuckoo bird stuff, because we have videos and we have documentation. And if
No,
people
actually, I
cast-
wasn't talking about that one. I was actually talking about on my mother's side.
And if people cast
Them
stones,
cousins.
then we will throw boulders back. Just, I'm nice, but I pack a punch. And I could have said something else, but that would have made me seem really vain and all this other stuff. And
I'm not nice.
I am very nice,
I'm
but
not.
I can be very angry. I'm like lioness. I'm like calm and cool and collected. I like to play around with the kitties a little bit.
I'm still trying to get over that
Like,
we're
have
doing
fun.
an interview on YouTube in the bathroom of a hotel room.
You do realize that most of the TikToky people do bathroom stuff, right? And I'm a mom, so I multitask.
I don't watch TikTok.
Okay, I call it Tiki Talk.
I don't
But a
watch
lot of the
TikTok.
content's in a bathroom, and this is how dreams start. Like, this all started with a dream. Then somebody wanted some change, and then old guys started fighting. Like, that's how it is. So like, let the girl have a chance. There you go. There's my slogan.
Okay, well,
Let the girl drive.
you know what? Actually, the last presidential election, I voted for the only woman that was running.
Okay.
That had ballot access in all 50 states, by the way. And you
Exactly.
probably have never heard of her.
I don't know.
Jo Jorgensen.
This is a goddess.
Okay?
I don't know.
I voted for her.
So if a
Libertarian-
boy voted for a girl, then why wouldn't a girl vote for his, or why wouldn't a guy vote for his cousin?
I didn't say I wouldn't vote for you. What I'm saying is you need to build a resume.
I have a resume.
Start with Baltimore.
No, I'm starting with presidency, Baltimore, and being a mommy cat.
Start,
and if two
start
of
with,
them fail, I still
start
have a
with
backup
Baltimore.
plan, which
Get
is going to
that-
be the original plan anyways.
Okay, but if you start with Baltimore and you fix whatever you think is wrong with that city,
But why would I start with a teeny tiny little project when I already know what needs to be fixed over there?
then fix it. And
Then
then
I have
show.
to be the friggin' person. And there's a
Okay,
person
hold on.
there, and I don't want to have to dethrone him just to like be like, hey, by the way, in 4
Look,
years
the
I want to
only-
be
the only
president. So
mayor
like,
of
this is my
Baltimore-
startup.
The only mayor of Baltimore y'all have ever had that I've ever even liked was Martin O'Malley.
Okay, well, we have a Branton right now, and he's actually doing a pretty good job. Aside from like his headwear,
I like O'Malley. He's a good guy.
Like,
he's also a good historian, by
he's
the way.
really trying, and I'm really proud of him because he's from Baltimore, and like Baltimore's had a lot of poopy people, and like they get behind people, and then they just mess things up worse. And like Brandon's really trying, and I won't. And I see, and if I was like the presidential person, like in trying. I would not sit there and like yell and scream and act all stupid and be like, oh, you did this and your son did this and blah, 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 blah. I'd be like, okay, so you're going to throw stones at me. So what's your actual problem that you have? That's what I would do. And I'm boring him because he wants to see people fight. I think people like to see people fight.
Let me show you something.
He's going to show me something.
Love this woman to death. You know who she is?
No. Oh, sorry.
City Councilwoman Biloxi.
I know she has a very southern name.
Mm-hmm. She kind of is a lot like you, really.
Mm.
Great ideas and the drive to put them into action. Okay? By the way, if y'all are in Biloxi, I'm talking about Dixie Newman.
Oh, you never did your like stuff for your channel.
Okay, well, hang on. Dixie Newman has been on the city council now for about 10 years or so. And she is doing an excellent job. She has got community stuff going on down at Hiller Park. She's improved a lot in West Biloxi where I grew up. And she's an all-around genuine person. Okay? She got elected when she was in her late 20s. Now, she got a little bit of money, but for the most part, she did a lot on her own. Okay? If, knowing what she's done, let's just say Popo wanted to step down from mayor, and she wanted to take that spot, I say she's got a very good chance of getting it. If you wanted to step up and build a resume the way she did, a political resume, which you don't have,
I have no interest in getting more into politics than I have to.
well, if you want to run, you got to get involved in it, unfortunately, and that means you're going to have to get dirty.
I can get dirty. I
You're gonna have to
can
get
get very
filthy.
dirty. Yeah.
And when I say
I've literally
filthy,
been covered in raw sewage. I think I'm good.
well, you're going to be covered in more raw sewage, and you're going to be swimming in it. Okay? Because unfortunately, that's how politics are played. It doesn't matter if you try to run the cleanest campaign. Read my book. I wrote a whole book about this. Read it, or have you already? Haven't you read my book?
I read like into the 3rd chapter.
Thanks for the vote of confidence, cuz.
I was really busy. Have you been watching my channel and commenting on any of my stuff?
No, I didn't.
Have you subscribed to it? Pull your YouTube out.
I'm pretty sure I am subscribed.
If you're subscribed to it, then you would see me every day at 6:33.
I could have swore that I was subscribed to it. I'm going to find out. Let's see here. Michelle Fix It, right?
Yeah. Let's see if my cousin cat even like subscribed to my page. Because if he did, he would know that I'm literally on every day at 6:33.
Gee, how about that? I am subscribed.
Well, then why aren't you getting my videos at 6:33? And let me see what it looks like from your side. Yeah.
See? Subscribed.
Okay. Well, like every day at 6:33.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was one of my other channels that subscribed. Hold on. Because I have several.
See, and he didn't even subscribe to me on all the channels.
Oh, well,
I
you
only
know
have
what?
one channel.
But anyway, you build that resume, you get people to see what you're made of. You get the people that you actually differ from on looks, as you were saying, the colorful people that you help out every day, or better
I know
yet,
my Baltimore
the
boys at home. They
forgotten,
love me.
the forgotten people,
Yeah.
because most of the politicians don't give a crap about them.
They don't care about any of the people. From what I hear from all of
So-
these guys that are all political about the stuff, do they care about the dudes driving the trucks? No.
No.
Do they care about the plumbers? No. Do they care about the electricians? No. The HVAC guys? Do they care about the homeschooling moms? Do they care about the medically complex children? Like, I can literally go on and on. The Jeep people, who do they care about? They only care about the people that are just like them in their fancy boxes, with their fancy money, with all their crap.
That's what they
And
care
like,
about.
exactly. And I
Getting into that.
literally don't care about that. Like, you can ask my husband cat and you can ask my husband cat's coworkers, because like I wait forever to build people, because I literally love what I do. You can put me in any job, any place, and I will find a way to enjoy it, unless it involves myrtleizing things, because I can't do that, or tearing myrtleized things apart. I can't do that either. Just like I can't take a fish off of the hook because it makes me feel bad. Anything else, I'd be great at it. Like dealing with raw poopies and fixing stuff and being a trash lady and like any of that kind of stuff. And I am more in touch with reality, even though my reality has been really, really good, and I've been really, really lucky and fortunate, and I will be the first one to say that, because if you feel like you have a crappy life and a crappy this and oh, blah, 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 go to Baltimore. Go to Baltimore or a big city and see homeless people and have them say, oh, they're like street signs, you have to ignore them. They're people on the streets where there's literally houses that are getting torn down because people aren't occupying them. And the homeless people don't know what to do. The people with the houses don't know what to do. They're like using the houses as playing cards for monetary purposes, for taxes. And then we wonder why the city's being dragged down. So like, yeah, keep voting for all these people with all their fanciful money and all their fanciful things. Because this chick actually has been out there. I've been in the dirty South. Like,
There ain't
literally
nothing dirty
grew
about
up
the
in
South.
one of the things. You say it. It's a dirty South thing.
There ain't nothing dirty about the
I'm
South.
down in the dirty
Hate that
South.
Satan.
Why do you hate it? We have
I-
dirty, dirty
that-
water.
There's
you
nothing
offended?
dirty about
Are
it.
you a snowflake?
I'm offended on that. Yeah, when you start talking about the South, there ain't a damn thing
Our
dirty
water's
about the South.
dirty. Who cares? The dirty South. We have dirt. We have dirty water. We have a lot of stuff that like is closeted. It shouldn't be closeted. I mean, not everything is like beachy for the South. And like some people know that and they recognize that. And I'm gonna be the person that puts my foot in the mouth, because when I go anywhere, I tell this to everybody, and I'll say it here too, it's gonna get me in trouble. When I go places and I say, hi, I'm Michelle, they're like, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from Mississippi. All the isms come out, because they assume that just because I'm from Mississippi, then I must be a closeted whatever. So then all of their isms come out to me in very politically correct terms.
Mhm.
Oh, you shouldn't be out there working on that house. Why don't you go to Home Depot and just get some people? Or wherever the husbands get them. They're like cattle. You can get them for pretty cheap. And they're talking about the people that are at the Home Depot that are looking for work. There. Sun up, sun down, raining, whatever, mailman saying, there you go. And they're treated like cattle. Oh, honey, if you don't have to work, why would you work? You have no idea the crap that I hear.
Well,
Because
sure.
I'm a Mississippi girl that ends up in more fanciful places than I belong in, and then I get picked on because people find out how old I am, and like I shouldn't have achieved what I achieved. You guys can look at the house that I had. Second husband and we got a banging house. And a pool and a hot tub, and I built a playground in the backyard, and I had a park-like setting, and my neighbors were all grumpy about it because how dare we have blue stone instead of white stone? And he literally said it to a colorful inspector and didn't understand why the colorful inspector got annoyed, because the colorful inspector said, so you're mad at her not because she put rocks down, you're mad at her because of the color of the rocks. And he just stood there for a minute, he's like, yeah. And then he just absorbed what he was saying. Because it was bluestone. Because bluestone was cheaper than white stone. It's terrible. Anyways, yeah. I'm just a chick with a dream. And like my cousin won't even vote for me. And like tell me that like he would write me in. Like I could be the write me in girl. Is that like, that feels like that pop culture thing or something.
Okay, you know how write-ins work?
No, my neighbors
They
told
don't
me
get
about it.
counted.
Then why are they there?
To make you think you have a choice. That's actually
No,
true.
because she said that they like people vote for Mickey Mouse. So why don't they vote for
Have you ever seen
Michelle
Mickey
Fixit?
Mouse counted on the election?
I am not a politics person, clearly.
But have you ever seen them count Mickey Mouse?
I don't know because I don't watch this stuff. It's like football. I don't watch football. I'm not going to draw in any sports people. I know about the Eagles people, and I know about the Philly people, and I know about the People take it or leave
It's
it.
not acceptable
Why?
enough. Because not enough people see it to care.
But if it spreads around,
You got to get it to go viral.
well, that's what I'm working on. That's why I said I wanted people to like
And even
look at
then,
the videos.
and even then,
I had 30,000 people ask me how to
And-
use a cock gun. You know how ridiculous that is?
okay, and even
That is
then,
basic stuff that should have been taught.
hold on.
And I
even
have some
then,
fanciful movies that are kind of cool on here too.
even then, okay, you got people asking you how to do this. You got people that you're doing this with, and that's great. But what are people watching? This? Or are they watching, somebody like Jeremy DeWitt on YouTube acting like a police officer down in Florida when he's not, on a motorcycle running 110 miles an hour down the Florida Turnpike with lights and sirens going? What's more entertaining? Because this is for entertainment. This ain't serious. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. If you get to a place where you can start interacting with people, Twitter, you could probably do it.
What if there was like a modern day Mona Lisa photo floating around that might go viral? Would that work?
Half the people watching YouTube and watching all this stuff couldn't tell you who the Mona Lisa was or what the Mona Lisa was.
No, it's something like that dress thing where like people argue about what the intent is behind it and if it's real or not.
You don't want people arguing. You want people brought together.
No, but I mean if they're
got
arguing, they're
enough
talking,
arguing.
there's passion.
We got enough arguing. We need
I meant
people
like
brought
arguing
together.
as in like, it would go viral from it. That dress thing. Some people saw it and it was yellow and some people saw it was blue.
Like I said, you've got to figure out your niche. And
Oh.
unfortunately, you're not going to do it with this. But I do have to go
I know. I have to
here
go
in just a
too.
little bit.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to say? You didn't put your channel thing in there. Go for it.
Channel, you want to see my politics? If you feel up to it, look up Liberty with a Southern Accent. It's on YouTube. If you're into history, History with Anthony O. And another thing, we can do a whole nother thing on this later. I do have a amateur radio, ham radio channel. Just look up W5BLX. Got any questions about any of that? Reach me on one of them channels. I'll be glad to help you out. Thanks to Michelle Fixit for hosting me.
You're welcome. Did you want to talk about your book? You didn't say anything about your book.
Well, you hadn't read it yet. Why don't you read it and you tell people?
Do you want me to read it on my channel, chapter by chapter? I'm reading
No,
the
I
greatest
want you
fury.
to read it. I want you to read it.
But then
and
then they
you tell
would.
people. You tell people what you think. It's your channel. I got enough advertisement for my book on my channel. You
No.
click on any of the videos on my channel, you will see my book, which I published last year called Against the Flow of Mississippi.
No, I'm saying, do you want me to read it on my channel, chapter by chapter?
No,
Why?
because I want people to buy it.
But if they like it, then they buy it. I could read a chapter. Oh, I've already read to the third chapter.
I mean,
I'm
you
reading
can
the
read the
greatest
first
ju-
couple, but
How-
don't read the whole book.
Okay, so like how many chapters should I read as a
No more
teaser?
than 3. I would
Why
say
don't
no more
you
than 3.
Why don't you go home and think about your book and think about where the like the chapter is, and then I'll read it to
I would
that
say
chapter.
by the 3rd chapter, you should have enough to get you hooked.
Okay, then I can do that, and that's easy for me to remember. Yeah, because have you heard of The Greatest Fury?
No.
It's about Baltimore and New Orleans and Biloxi and stuff. I read like the first chapter of it. I just happened upon it. I picked it up because it was at Habitat for Humanity. It's locked up in Big Sexy because I don't know where Big Sexy's keys are because I lost them.
I know this stuff. I need to go step downstairs for a minute.
All right, and that's all we have today. Say bye.